How do legal entity types affect IP ownership? Imagine building a treasure chest full of your startup's ideas, inventions, and brand names. Now, think about who actually owns that treasure. The answer depends heavily on the type of legal entity you choose for your business. When founders start a new company, understanding how different legal structures impact who owns intellectual property is key to protecting their innovations and making their startup attractive to investors. Intellectual property includes patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets. These protect inventions, brand names, written works, and confidential information. The way ownership of these assets is handled varies based on your business structure. If you're running a sole proprietorship or a partnership without formal agreements, the IP created by you or your team might initially belong to the individual creators. This can lead to confusion or disputes later on. On the other hand, if your startup is set up as a corporation or a limited liability company, the law generally considers the company as the owner of IP created by employees or contractors. This is because of work-for-hire rules or assignment agreements. These agreements state that any inventions or creations made during work hours or as part of the job belong to the company. This setup makes it easier to manage and defend your IP rights. Legal agreements are a big part of this process. Founders, employees, and contractors should sign contracts that assign all IP rights to the business. Without these, the IP might stay with the individual, which can cause issues when trying to license or sell those assets later. For example, a corporation will usually have employment contracts with clauses that specify all inventions made during employment belong to the company. The type of legal entity also affects how you manage and enforce your IP rights. Corporations and limited liability companies can enter into licensing deals, sue for infringement, and enforce their rights more easily. Sole proprietorships or informal partnerships might face challenges because the IP is tied to individuals, making legal actions more complicated. Investors prefer startups organized as corporations because they offer clearer ownership structures. When the company owns its IP outright, it reduces risks and makes the business more appealing. If ownership is unclear or tied to individuals, it can slow down funding or lower valuation. For founders, choosing the right legal structure is a smart move. Picking a corporation or limited liability company helps establish clear ownership. Always have all team members sign IP assignment agreements. Register important IP assets in the company's name. Keep detailed records of who created what and when. These steps make it easier to attract investors from partnerships and defend your innovations. In essence, the legal entity type you select shapes who owns your startup's intellectual property. Structures like corporations and limited liability companies give your business a solid foundation to own, protect, and control its IP. This clarity is vital for attracting investment and building a strong, valuable company.